Mario Kart World. So before I get into the game, I did go to the midnight release of the Switch too, and that was pretty fun. If you remember my Switch pre-ordering story that I did in another video, I hung out with these two guys in line and stuff and got to talk with them. It was really fun. I saw them again, so that was nice. But anyway, they also handed out a free can of Monster Energy, which I love Monster Energy, so that was nice. But anyway, on to Mario Kart World. So Mario Kart World is an interesting game. I've been playing Mario Kart 8 for so long, and especially in the lead up to this, I was playing it a lot again. And for the last year, I've been playing exclusively like on 200cc, which this game does not have. Mario Kart 8 didn't have it at first either. It was added later on, so maybe they'll add it later. I just bring it up because when I started playing this, it just felt so slow. But anyway, that's not the game's fault. That's just because it doesn't have 200cc, and I've been exclusively playing on that for a long time. Anyway, let's start with all the different modes. We have Grand Prix, which everyone should know what a Grand Prix is, but in between each main track, you have what I like to call a route to get to that track, which you have to drive on. I'm a little torn on this because most of them are just straight lines. There's not a lot going on, but obviously the developers knew this, so they try to spice it up by having a whole bunch of stuff like traffic and a bunch of random things that can happen. So they did their best to try to make it interesting. You do have to pay attention. It's just not a straight shot or whatever, so you can't just be asleep at the wheel. But then you get to the track, and unfortunately you only do usually like a lap, maybe two, depending on the thing. But yeah, it is kind of like, at least when we got to the track, could we do 3 laps? I don't know. Like I said, I'm a little torn. It's fun. It's still a fun game. At least the game is fun to play, so I can't complain that much. But if you do really just like the whole routes thing and not the courses, you can do the knockout tour. Where you have to go through every checkpoint and stay ahead of the pack or else you get eliminated. Those are basically just done on the routes. So there's that. If you want to play just the tracks, you can go into a versus mode and just only pick the tracks, because you can do that. So that's nice. You can even do that online too. Okay, how about free roam? Free roam is just nice if you want to relax and just take a nice little drive throughout the world. You can practice all the tracks, which is nice. But that's about it. There are things to do in the world, like these little challenges and stuff. The problem is there's really no point to doing them, and unfortunately Nintendo has struggled with this. This was also a problem in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Pretty much any open world game they've done, they've never really been able to give you good rewards for exploring the world and doing all the side quests and stuff like that. You just get like stickers or stamps or whatever, and it's like, who cares? You basically are just going to do them because you want to do them, not because the game will give you anything. And they're all very simple and pretty easy, so it's not even like a challenge. So at least all the ones I've done, I haven't done everything, but it's nice. It's a nice little distraction if you don't want to be racing, just want to have a nice little drive through the world. It's nice at least. As far as the new mechanics go, I really love the grinding and the wall riding and all that other stuff. The mobility is just really great. And the fact that you can go on air, land, and sea reminds me a lot of Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. A lot of people said Diddy Kong Racing, but in that game you actually picked your vehicle at the beginning and you couldn't transform. But in Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed, you could transform, and that's what this one basically is. So you can the maneuverability and the mobility and all the stuff you can do, all the different paths you can take, makes every course very interesting. So that's really nice. Overall, it's a very fun game so far. Now, a lot of people probably are wondering, is this game worth $80? Well, first of all, I got mine for $50 because I got the bundle. And obviously, I cannot answer that question for you because everyone puts different value on different things. I can only offer my opinion. And I would say right now, I don't think it's an $80 game. It was $50 for me, and it's definitely a $50 game for sure. Even $60, I would say. $70 would be pushing it. $80, no. Not at its current state. If they end up adding a bunch of DLC for free, then maybe it could actually get up to that $80 price tag. As of right now, though, it's good. It's very good. I'm loving it. $80, though, I don't see the reasoning behind it, besides the fact that they knew everyone was going to pay it. It's like with Pokemon. They can charge full price for their crappy games because they know people will buy it. Scarlet and Violet shouldn't have charged any amount of money for those games, considering how broken they were. But they charged full price because they knew they could, because they knew people would buy it. They even sold 2 versions of the same game, been doing it for decades, because they know people will buy it. That's the reason for the price. Not because it was actually worth it, but because that is because people will buy it. But like I said, if they add a lot of stuff, that would be cool. A lot of free stuff, or at least free for Nintendo Switch Online people, like they did with Mario Kart 8. That would be awesome. And I want them to add new worlds. And since this is an open world game, add more worlds and make them Nintendo based. Like imagine driving through Hyrule or a Splatoon city or an Animal Crossing village or a Metroid inspired place or something inspired by Kirby or something like that. Just make Nintendo Kart All Stars. Make Mario and Nintendo All Stars Racing or something like that. That's got to be the next one, right? And once you go open world, you're not beating that in terms of like your world. So you just got to add the characters. Let's make a Super Smash Brothers Kart or something like that. But anyway, if you guys have played it, let me know what you think about it. I think the game is really fun. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I wish I could do like a review of the Switch too on its own, but I'm not the right person for that. I don't get into the very technical nitty gritty and stuff. But there's plenty of people out there doing that, so I'm not going to be making a video on the Switch 2 itself. But as far as Mario Kart World go, it's really fun. So thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.